That was a preamble. So the statement that was made by this guy, as he said, he also had a compilation of writings, so many years ago about the nature or understanding of how our body works and the diseases as well. And his lasting legacy is the Hippocratic Oath that all doctors take. So if this guy has so much influence on the medicine that we practice today, and instead those two sentences or statements that we've already quoted, what do you think about food and wellness and medicine? Okay, so his practices and his ethical practices, especially his standards, serves us as a moral guide and for the physicians or the doctors today. And, they'll take the oath at the beginning of their career, okay? So if they're taking the Hippocratic Oath of this father of medicine, and one of his statements is, let food be thy medicine. Why this is very, very important to me and to Dr. Ore, because we have a similar passion in regards to lifestyle medicine. And a few years ago, myself and a group of medical missionaries, I'll call it, we organized some mission to Nigeria, and this flyer or poster was made. And of course, we printed them in thousands. I don't want to exaggerate and say billion, but they were lots of thousands. And we push it. This was just a side project in my nutrition career. And it's so simple that I will send you the electronic version and push it out to people because it's still relevant today. But the reason why I'm bringing this out is basically what the WHO said about the reason why we're doing this today. WHO said a few years ago that in the year 2015, we're now in 2020, aren't we? So that was 5 years ago. The prediction of WHO is that if nothing is done, about 28 million people in African region will die from lifestyle-related diseases, such as hypertension, stroke, diabetes, obesity, and so many other. But this prediction already came, to be 3 years earlier, when about 35 million people actually died worldwide, and 80% of them were from developing countries, actually from African regions. And this flyer says, if we do these few sensible steps, that will be sensible indeed. Because if we don't do anything about it, imagine in 2015, these flyers were printed in 2013 and pushed to thousands of people in different regions of Nigeria. And of course, we can't save Nigeria all by ourselves on our own. And that's why we're collaborating to do this again. And of course, it's even much more important to do this now than ever in Nigeria. We took thousands, Dr. You saw this when you came.
Yes, I did.
A lot of data asking people, what do you eat, and we were picking up high blood pressure in people who are in their 30s, dangerously high blood pressure, and educated people as well. It's not just the illiterates. In fact, I think the illiterates, because they live moderate life, they don't overdo anything, especially in the area of food and drinks. They are fine to some extent. It's people who are educated, who have status symbol, who are rich or have disposable income that are very, very affected, So I'm going to carry on having introduced that to you, why that is the main reason why the passion is huge to push this out. But I tell you what, this is not about Africa or Nigeria. This is about every living being that is sleeping, waking, eating, and drinking. Full stop. I use some of the skills that God has given me over the years in general practice, in the community where God has placed me, set up health checks and stuff like that in small conferences and big conferences. So, and this involves both black, white, yellow, orange. It doesn't matter what ethnic minority you are, because as we go along in this evening, you will find out that everyone is eating. That's not a secret, is it? So it doesn't matter who you are still eating. Now, when we eat, we sleep, we wake. There are thousands of metabolic processes that is going on in our body on daily basis for homeostasis. And that's just balancing in the body, chemical balance. And because of these processes, DNAs get damaged, they get repaired. Think of it like a car. You use it, you have to maintain it, there is repair work to be done. So underneath the body, I'm laying this foundation so that when I begin to say, oh, eat this, don't eat that, then it will make sense. Okay, because this is not a lecture. This is just to encourage us to kind of health promotion, as we said earlier on, to help us to adjust what we eat, to think about what we eat, to change what is not perfect or you think there is room for improvement. So DNA get damaged, but they need repair. Okay, so each time we eat, the byproduct of this metabolism, how the food is broken down in the system, they damage the DNA. So, and our lifestyles, and the free radicals in the environment, the fumes, the carbon emission, the Okadas, the trailers, the Ajagbes, all the cars on the road, they emit fumes. All of those also damage our DNA. Okay. Now, something needs to mop them up. And these are nutrients from what we eat. When we live and breathe and sleep and do all these things, processes, DNA breaking down, and nothing is repairing the damage, that is why diseases begin to set in. Okay, and these are lifestyle-related diseases, mainly that we will talk about today. So, but the main thing here is how fast you can repair the damage is what is important. If you are not repairing the damage, there is mutation. Your DNA, your gene get damaged and that's it, and they stay like that. And the mutation basically is the fact that those DNA become stubborn in the state they are, and they are your destiny, and you begin to pass them on from generation to generation. And doing a lot of research in the area of Black ethnic minority has opened my eyes to why there is stroke in the Black community, why there is hypertension, why there is this, why there is that. And for a continent of Africa that is deemed to be poor, why are we still having all of these problems? Okay, now, how fast are we repairing the damage? And that is the important question. Yorubas will say, "Ohun tí ẹyẹ bá jẹ ni ẹyẹ ń gbé fò." So the translation of that is, a bird only fly on the basis of what it has eaten. So if my culture cares about Yoruba, about birds, to the extent of knowing and determining that if this bird isn't eating well, it's not going to be able to fly. The same things apply to us as human beings. So what you've put in your system, what you have ingested, what you have eaten, is what is going to help you to fly, to live, to breathe. A good example is magnesium. Magnesium is very, very plenty in green leafy vegetables. But if you don't eat them, then that means you're not going to have enough magnesium. And when you look at magnesium, for most people on this platform, I can see that you've gone through secondary school. And there is what is called mitochondria, the powerhouse, the engine house. Like most people have generating plants or house in Nigeria, in some other parts of the world. So that is your mitochondria. your mitochondria cannot do its job without magnesium. So if you're not eating magnesium, as one example, you'll be tired because you won't have energy. Okay, so that's one. Two, the issue of vitamin D that we've seen a lot of over the media with the COVID and why many Black people are dying because of COVID, especially Black people in diaspora, because they are living in an environment that isn't very sunny. You know, they are so far from the equator. There isn't plenty of sun. You know, for instance, in a country like this where I am, you know, or Europe, for instance, part of the Europe. So vitamin D is also, as research has shown us, is present in every cell of the body. So the question is, if this part of your body does not need vitamin D, what is the receptor cells of vitamin D doing there? So nature is so kind that when your DNAs are damaged and they need repairs, the nature will move that nutrients from where it is, where it's not urgent, and take it to where the body needs it the most. However, this is the snag. You carry on suffering the deficiency because where the body thinks this is not urgent, it's in your age, old age, your age. It catches up when you're 50, 60, 70, especially in your 60s and 70s. So this DNA get damaged within that particular area, and then they're not repaired. And as said earlier on, mutation happen, and of course, old age diseases set in. And because they still constantly unrepaired, it becomes a thing. And your internal organs age quite early. Therefore, they are tired early and they pack up early and resulting in disease conditions. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. WHO has done a few things in the area of food and lifestyle. And unfortunately, whether this is a debate, whether there are resources or there are no resources in African region to institute all these changes, remains to be answered. But the main thing about what we are going to be saying tonight is the fact that if you let those deficiency in your nutrients persist, the mutation persists, and then the damaged gene and DNA or gene get passed down to your children and to your grandchildren. So if you're not eating well for yourself, you need to start eating well for the generations to come. Okay, and that's why I said children also need to come on board and listen to this tonight, because they also need to eat well for your grandchildren. Okay, now the global trend around food, the so-called obesogenic diet, needless to say, has become a pandemic. Every region of the world, every part of the world is obese. High calorie, refined carbohydrates, sugar, processed food, packaged food, all in very, very low in micronutrients. And I've only mentioned vitamin D and magnesium. There are so many, about 40 something micronutrients that we need to function on a daily basis. And of course, emphasis on different nutrients at different age, but there are certain nutrients that everybody must make sure they have. Okay, so these obesogenic diets, as we said, they are refined food and processed, over-processed. So they are full of sugar, full of salts and trans fats and saturated fat, all of those things that we already know are not good for us. But the food industry is all about business, not health. So you have to now be your own person and select the right type of food for you. This breaks my heart because, as I said before, the data that we collected, thousands of data, the convention was done in Ogbomoso years ago, and we hired 22 nurses to assist us to do cardiovascular risk. We had so many of these events in Abuja, in Lagos, and some other parts. And no part of Nigeria, for instance, is different. The same thing is happening in Zimbabwe, in Ethiopia, in Angola, in India, in Barbados. Some years ago, you know, I had a project in Barbados in regard to nutrition. 50% of the people living in Barbados are hypertensive. 50%. That's the part of Caribbean. Okay, these people are Black people. They probably originate from Nigeria or West Africa or some other part of Africa, so to speak. So there is already some mutation within our gene that is being passed down, you know, as a result of what we've gone through, or our fathers or forefathers or some people have gone through and they've passed it down from generation. And that's why we have all these rampant Black persons disease and that. It's like a plague, and we need to break that, like a curse, basically. We need to break it. So now this is where the fun begins. The portion sizes. I think I'm going to cherry pick on my material, things I've already put down. One of the things that scares me the most is the portion sizes of food, and especially fruits. And please, let's listen to this. Fruit is good, and as we've already been told, in Western culture or countries, to eat 5 a day. Basically, 3 portions of vegetable and 2 of fruit from morning to night, not more than 2. At the moment, things are changing in the Eat Well plates. You know, the UK Eat Well plates look like this. And if you can see a little bit into that diagram, you can see the colors. The green signifies mainly vegetables. And I'm going back on the fruit. You know, we all know about sugar in food or carbohydrates. So fruit also is a form of carb, so to speak, because there is sugar in fruits and it's fructose. So in carbohydrate, we have glucose. In fruit, we have fructose. In milk, we have lactose. In what other places we have the O's? Okay, so where you see all those O's, they simply mean sugar. So carbohydrates, glucose means sugar. When it gets into your body interprets it as sugar, full stop. And that's why portion sizes comes into this, because one of the things we are supposed to do today or achieve is about portion sizes. And of course, we don't have all day to talk about that. But I'm going to go quickly and, you know, briefly about sizes. When I was growing up in Nigeria, maybe you too, think back into your childhood for a minute and think about what you were eating then, or what we were eating then, and what we're eating now, and what's different. Now, we have so many tropical fruits in abundance, and they are the ones that are laden, that are heavy with sugar and hence calorie. So calorie means weight in simple terms. So it doesn't matter where that calorie is from, whether it's from your lactose, glucose, you know, fructose, or your protein as well, which are all parts of my macronutrients, those big ones that we all need for energy, your fat and oil and things like that. But the quantity that we now eat is what is important. Now, I've seen people eat a bunch of banana. Does anybody know what the right amount of banana is that you should eat? The portion of banana that you should eat. You know. Okay, so you can put your answer on the chat. And while you put your answer, I'm not going to shock you, it's just 1 medium-sized banana. I've had situations when myself, if I go to the shop and I see big bananas, I don't buy them because I've eaten half a banana before. Okay, so if you've eaten half a banana now, or 1 medium-sized banana, and we will be shocked about the amount, the equivalent of sugar in 1 banana, you know. So some people will also eat apple. one apple a day, as they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Maybe we should just eat one portion of fruit a day because of fructose. Because anytime we ingest fructose or sugar from any form of food, it pushes the insulin up in the body. And insulin is a growth hormone. Insulin makes you grow, make you big. And that's why even from the introduction, metabolic syndrome is a precursor to diabetes. And metabolic syndrome is basically insulin resistance because you're eating so much sugar, either from fruit. I'm making emphasis on fruit now because I know what people are eating as part of the data that we collected. And also I grew up in the culture in Nigeria. In fact, we would climb up the tree of mangoes, shake the tree down and fill a bucket with mangoes and sit down and eat it as if we were eating lunch, And the amount of mango you are supposed to eat. When you hold the mango in your hand, you slice one part of that one portion that you should eat at one given time. So in my house, when we want to eat mango, we share one mango. Okay, so that's one area. And your juice, your orange juice, I've forgotten the name of all those fancy words of juices in Nigeria. We were in somebody's mother's burial, and this 6-foot table was too small for the array of juices and soda and pops that were put on the table for us. Of course, we didn't touch them. And also cocktails were being made. And right there, we saw people drinking all of that. You are basically ingesting sugar, and sugar is pushing your insulin up, and plenty of insulin, your body cannot deal with it, because your pancreas is getting tired, your body is resisting the insulin, and your tummy is getting big. That's number 2 on metabolic syndrome. And also your blood pressure is going up slowly. And also your cholesterol is going up from other things as well. So, and PM, you just need one more thing and you are in full-blown diabetes. And that's another reason why diabetes is so common amongst our people. So let's stop eating those fruits. However, the same sugar you have in fruits, you have the same exact amount of sugar, like 10 cubes in a 330 ml of Coca-Cola. Okay? So when you're drinking Coke or fruit juice, which one should you pick? One of them is just sugar. The other one on my left hand is the fruit juice. It's got sugar as well. By the way, this is the right size of glass for orange juice or any juice at all, 250 ml or less. If I want to drink juice, I will mix it with water. I can't remember when last I drank juice. I made my own apple juice from the apple tree I planted and dilute it, maybe whenever I remember I need the juice. Okay, so that's just an example, but your juice or your fruit have nutrients in it. But don't forget that you can get that nutrient from somewhere else. Your vitamin C, you can get it from your lemon, from your lime, from parts of your vegetables, so you can avoid the sugar. I'm not saying don't drink juice, drink the right amount. If you have one glass of juice like this with your breakfast, you are only allowed one more piece of fruit for the rest of the day. Full stop. Okay, so I have the sizes or the portion sizes, what counts as a portion of fruits. But I'm not going to dwell too much on that because there's so much other things that we need to do and I'm watching the time myself. So basically, I'm going to do other videos in depth about these things. So if you want to watch them, you can watch them. Okay, so we said eat one banana at a time, not 2. Certainly not a whole bunch. An apple, not 2 or not a couple. 1 medium-sized orange. Okay. Any of those big fruit like, the other one is pineapple and melon, the red one in Nigeria, you only have a slice of those big fruits, the size of the palm of your hand. Okay, if you are eating more than that size at one given time, then you are basically indirectly ingesting sugar. And as we go on, we will soon find out more things that sugar do in the body. And maybe I should say this now that I'm on the sugar case. Sugar feeds cancer. When I was growing up, when I went through my training in Nigeria, my husband is a doctor as well, we never see cases of cancer. I think the only case of cancer I saw was in UCH, bucket lymphoma, which is a children cancer and is specific to Africa because of a virus. Okay, so people now having ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, colorectal, bowel cancer, breast cancer. One of my classmates died of breast cancer years ago. I think she must have been just 30 then, So when we were growing up, we didn't know any of that. The obesogenic diets, the high sugar, I'm making emphasis on the sugar now more than anything. And please bear with me. Do you know that when people have cancer and they want to do tests, what they call PET scan, they push sugar into the system? You and I need energy. We need glucose, carbs, some level of energy, some level of calorie, glucose for energy. So also those cancer cells. So the more sugar you take, either from your Coca-Cola, your Farooz, your orange juice, your apple juice, your what other juice, your Pepsi, your Fanta, even your orange fresh juice, the more of it you take, you are feeding all those cancer cells. And the secret about cancer is this, it's an open secret. One of my supervisors in my nutrition was a twin, and she's fine, but her twin sister had cancer. The statistics is 1 out of 2 persons walking around we have cancer, because every cell of our body has the capacity for radicalization. Don't think religion is the only place where there's radicalization. Cells can go haywire and think that they just want to grow anyhow they like. So as you're feeding your body with sugar, either you think it's good, because that's why I put in part of my information to social media, ignorance also can be a cause of this. So ignorance is a reason, globalization, nutritional transition as a result of globalization. When I was in school, we were given a topic and say, civilization, a blessing or a curse, discuss. I mean, you all know I'm 50 years old, maybe not all of you. I turned 50 in June. And I was a teenager when we were discussing that topic. Imagine how far we have gone from then. When we thought that civilization was a cause and a curse, imagine what it is now. And because we don't have enough resources, or we have enough resources, but they're misused. So misused resources, which is not stretching, which is not being used to deal. We don't have resources to deal with all of this within our ethnic minority. And even in the Western culture or Western countries, they don't have the resources too. It's just that their government care for their people. There is lots of health promotion, risk assessments, and investigation in place to preempt all of these problems before they happen. And as soon as they happen, they deal with it. But within our Black community, nobody is doing any investigation for anybody. We did the only cervical pap smear that I know of en masse for some villagers in Abuja in one of our missions. And some members of one big organization paid for the analysis. Very, very expensive. We gave our services and some other people too to take the sample and stuff. But nobody is dealing with that, you know. So, but if you're feeding your body with processed food that is lacking in nutrients, you know, no micronutrients to mop up all those free radical cells, you know, to keep you going, you are just feeding the cancer cells. This year alone, within us, we know some people who have died of bowel cancer. You and I know. And we have celebrities, fit people. So sometimes ignorance can kill.